Hi, my name is Leon Scott, and I'm going to introduce the Wealth Investment Group to you. This is a Tennessee limited partnership that we're forming, and we'll discuss the opportunity for investment. So, Wealth is a private equity group, and we're currently fundraising $1 million with the our target of acquiring three local companies over the next 5 years. Three companies that focus on meal preparation and food delivery. The reason we're doing this is we see an opportunity where people and companies will pay our organizations if our organizations can make the food that they eat eliminate their disease. It's a big claim, and how do we plan on doing that? Well, we're looking at buying profitable meal prep and delivery companies and not messing up what they're doing. They figured out a magic combination. So we want to continue with their operations and expand their market to include the healthcare market by becoming a vendor for healthcare companies like Vanderbilt University Medical Center. The kind of magic in this is that Vanderbilt University Medical Center is now leveraging new payment models where they work directly with large self-insured employers who provide their own healthcare benefits. And there are about 2,500 of these companies in the Middle Tennessee region. So these are your Nissans, your GMs, large organizations that you see when driving downtown. Groups like Crackle Barrel, Gaylord, universities like Vanderbilt University proper, Austin P, Middle Tennessee State. Within these types of organizations, VUMC is creating solutions for treating certain medical ailments. And they are looking for vendors like us that can provide meals that would be used as prescribable treatments for the 30% of adults that have diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and osteoarthritis of their hips and knees specifically. Now, because all of that hopefully sounds exciting to you, what you might be expecting is me to put up a chart that is high and to the right, showing all this potential. The truth is, though, this is a new market, and Vanderbilt is looking for vendor partners to navigate this with as things grow. So I don't want to just plaster a number that's a multiple of the total addressable market here and say that that's what we're going to have in the next 3 to 5 years as our revenue. What I can do, though, is look at the numbers of the financials on the companies that we're looking to buy. And when we make adjustments so that there is an appropriate amount allocated for research and development, what we see is an opportunity over 5 years to have a 71% return on initial investment as we're going through that early growth stage. So that's really exciting for us. What that means, especially if you're investing 50% of our $50,000 increment, is that over those 5 years, you'd expect to see an $85,000 return distributed over the course of 5 years. How do we expect to do this? This is a timeline showing you that. Over the first year, we're acquiring the first company, and in the years after, looking at the acquisition of additional companies and producing the research and development alongside as a vendor of VUMC for these healthcare solutions. By year three, we expect to be a vendor specifically with the healthcare system in the area and having three active pilots running where we're using our meals to address diabetes, where we're using our meals to address blood pressure issues like hypertension and obesity or osteoarthritis, yielding a $6 million annual revenue. Now, the over the course of time after that, our goal is to perfect the model and then implement it in new regions with other healthcare organizations, expanding our reach. The acquisition of any company by PE firm should follow some the basic you due diligence protocol. So we're no different. We, in evaluating any company, are making sure that we have a significant amount of financial history to review, at least 3 years. We want to see growing revenue, and it'd be great to see positive earnings. If we can, or if that's not truly available, then we at least want to see the clear opportunity for margin expansion based on scale, especially as we um, acquire numerous organizations. So what I'm going to show you next is an example of how one of the candidate companies meets these minimum criteria. So candidate company one, the blue dots represent their revenues. The last blue dot, the 2022, is a projection based off their current uh, performance to date. The green dots represent our trend line for what we expect their performance to be in the next 5 years. They are an established company, and you can see they grew through COVID, which is fantastic. Now I'm going to overlay the expenses so we can take a look at how their margins are on those revenues. And their margins are significant, but they have to be protected. It's about a 4% return on revenue. And we see that their margins are sensitive to food and labor costs specifically. That big blue bar at the bottom, those are food costs. And our estimates do take into account the inflation that's taking place with an expected inflation rate of 9% to decrease to about 3% by 2027. There are labor cost sensitivities, and these are in both the indirect labor and the direct labor. There's a great story in both. In indirect labor costs, in this past year, a CEO was taken on, and that CEO approved a number of hires. Unfortunately, that proved to be an expense the company wasn't ready to take on, and that CEO has since been removed, and those additional hires have been removed. So there is some stability that's going to be returning in terms of the indirect cost margin. We also, in the direct cost side of things, we see in this company, candidate company one, that there is a stability in their food preparation labor costs. This is an opportunity, or there may be opportunities for this to be streamlined, especially as new companies are acquired alongside. The kitchen has the capacity to prepare more, and the staff would as well. Now, unique to our approach, different from what you may see from other M&A um, uh, strategies, is that we need to make sure that since we're growing as a vendor, that we protect our balance sheet. We need to make sure we have cash on hand. So when we make an offer, what we are doing is taking into account their equipment costs. We are making an offer that is based off of our 5 year projections, not just their past numbers, but what we expect into the future. We need to take into account the fact that we want to return 20% annually to our investors. And we have to make sure we pad our current assets. We need to make sure we have enough cash on hand. And I like making sure that any of my investments are able to cover 2 times their current liabilities so that things that are owed are paid and that money is available for capital expenditure, for research and development, all that's being budgeted. So when we apply that calculus, our offer to candidate company number one, the largest of the three companies, will be 560,000. So I am hopeful that you are both excited, but see the prudent evaluation and see that the important factors are being addressed here. Is there going to be revenue? Is there opportunity for the market to increase? Is there opportunity for margins to be scaled? And are we using an appropriate method for valuing these companies and not just some arbitrary multiple of EBITDA? So in doing so, I hope you can see a way for us to work together. And we are putting together a $1 million raise with $50,000 commitment increments, and it's going to be set up as a capital call system. So we will be able to deploy your money when it is ready and is not just sitting in an account not performing. Great. Give us a call, reach out to us, talk with you soon.